All right, well, that was the most enjoying theater experience I've had in a while. All right, we just got, well, we're recording this from the next day, but we watched Final Destination Bloodlines, and we got the whole entire theater to ourselves, and I enjoyed every second of it. And thank God, because with these types of movies, I remember when I was a kid, and the first Final Destination come out, I'm going to Six Flags, I'm going on roller coasters all the time. And the first movie, of course, they're on a roller coaster and then everyone dies. And I refused to watch the Final Destination franchises after that as a kid because I could not handle that. I'm
honestly
deaths,
surprised that the trucks didn't put you further off key there. I mean, the truck scene where they're all on the highway and everybody, like, the giant logs are like flying towards them in the cars. Like, I mean, come on. That, for me, especially when I first started driving, I was like, no, because I'm about to be impaled by like logs. Like, oh my gosh, no, I can't do that. That's too much.
Honestly, thank God I didn't see that clip until like most recently when the Final Destination movie was coming out and everyone was like, oh my God, these movies are so funny. And like they're showing all the clips of everything. But I saw that log clip and I was like, thank God I didn't see that, because you know how many times I've been behind actually like that loading trucks with logs on them, and I never thought about it because I never watched like Final Destination or anything like that. But I would have been terrified if I would have been behind one of those trucks and I would like saw Final Destination. But no, overall, this movie was super fun and enjoyable. Obviously, we could be ourselves in the theater, which was like a bonus. But I gotta say, I mean, you look at the reviews on Final Destination and they're all like mediocre on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. But you're seeing this, I'm looking at it right now, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and 7 on IMDb, and I think that's like completely justified. Like, you're a big fan of the franchise, and I'm really interested to hear like what you have to say. But I honestly enjoyed pretty much every second, and it felt like it flew by when we first watched it.
It did fly by, and I'm going to get to my most entertaining moment of the movie at the end of this as my recap for the movie, because I think it was just the perfect way to cap it off. But it's what you expect a Final Destination movie to be, right? It's premonitions, it's grisly deaths, you get a lot of close-up camera pans on like chunks of ice and lawnmowers and rakes and like, I mean, just the most ridiculous stuff that you're like, oh my gosh. And then immediately your mind goes into panic mode and you're like, how is the rake gonna kill the guy? Like, and you start thinking through the craziest scenarios in your head of like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is how it's gonna happen. And like, the opening to the movie was so good and it was shot so well that both me and you were looking at it going like, are we sure we're even in the right theater? Like, this might not be the right movie, dude. Like,
that's actually so true. Like, I was like, wait, what is going on? Am I watching? What did I say? I said
Metropolis.
Yeah, Megapolis or whatever. But no, yeah.
It was, and really so it was really well shot. The camera effects that they can do nowadays are insane. So, I mean, the whole movie was just really gorgeous, which is an excellent start, because if you're going to be doing a movie like this, the better shot that it is, the higher quality the movie is going to be, which is like the knock on some of the earlier movies in the franchise, is like some of them are very early supernatural kind of deaths, where you're like, okay, I mean, so he died, but it's clearly fake, and the graphics and like editing around it was just not that good. But that was not the case in this movie. And then it gives you this really interesting storyline, and we both commented, the lead for this movie, the daughter of the crazy, was the best casting of the film by far and away. I mean, she absolutely knocked it out of the park. Some of the other performances surrounding her, not so great, but as far as horror films go, you don't normally get good casting. Period. Like, it just doesn't usually happen at all. So the fact that her casting was actually really good was a huge bonus to the film, because for all you non-horror movie fans, the regular for horror movies is grisly deaths, jump scares, lots of blood and gore, not that great of a story, and mediocre at best actors. And like that's, you go into it knowing that that's what it is, with rare exceptions like The Exorcist and the Conjuring movies and The Nun and things like that that are just intentionally well done, and you get great actors. Final Destination managed to have a really compelling story that actually kept you engaged. They had a nice fast moving pace that kept everything up and going and moving. The deaths were grisly, but they weren't so constant that you were just overwhelmed by the fact that like death was all around you, which it was in the entire film. The comedic relief was fantastic. I mean, me and you spent half of the movie cracking up, but when the moments like got lit, we were in it. And I mean, the finale is my favorite part before we talk about my actual favorite character. Can't wait to talk about my favorite character. But at the end of the movie, Brett turns to me and he goes, "So they survived. Is this how horror movies usually end?" And I go, "No, actually, usually something wild normally happens and like they die a grisly death." And then my favorite character, the Penny, which I'll expand on in a moment, goes and locks up this little tiny divot in a railroad track, causes the trains to derail, and the logs make a comeback and squish the final two survivors. And it's so great because I literally turned to you and went, "That is how a Final Destination movie usually ends." And it was literally splat, roll credits.
It was such a fun watch, and I turned to you when all the gore and everything was happening, and I go, it literally is like I'm watching a montage of a bunch of deaths from The Boys. Thank God I watched The Boys before this. I didn't watch it like before this, but thank God The Boys came out before this, because that kind of prepared me, because I'm just not the biggest horror guy, and I was kind of, it was funny because you said premonition, and then I go, what the heck are you talking? I've never even heard premonition in my life. And then you're like, this is what it means, Brett, you idiot. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But well, I also have to give this movie credit because we saw the trailers, obviously, from before the movie came out and everything. And a character in the movie, Eric, and you're like, oh yeah, he's gonna die by getting ran over by a truck, because that's how he dies in the trailer. But they did a great job of actually just not spoiling you on anything that was gonna happen, like spoiling you on how people were gonna die or anything. And right when this particular moment is gonna happen, I'm like on the edge of my seat, curled up into the chair. I'm like, oh my goodness, he's gonna die now. He's gonna die now. I hear the truck, and then boom, zooms past him, and then it's like a really funny comedic moment, and I start laughing. So I just have to say, because I feel like we talked about trailers a couple movies ago and a couple of reviews ago, this trailer actually was good for the Final Destination movie, which I have to give it credit for.
It was actually really, really good. And to your point, we've had so many of the movies that we've seen recently spoil the movie by the trailer.
Yeah.
Which has been a real disappointment, because some of the movies that we've gone to see have been really, really, really decent. But the trailer gives away half of everything. So stuff that's supposed to be a surprise is not a surprise. So A+ on your trailer, Final Destination. A+.
Literally, it was perfect. And to go back to Stephanie, who was the main character that we're talking about, she killed it. She knocked it out of the park. I loved her role so much. She really played the crazy person that was trying to save everyone role really well. And obviously the other performances were kind of hilarious. I thought Eric, that character was so well done.
Eric had a really good arc, and honestly, the actor that played him did a fantastic job. Yeah, I mean, both Stephanie and Eric were played very well.
Yeah, it's Richard Harmon and then Caitlin Santa Juana, I believe, or Juana. If I'm mispronouncing that, my bad. But both of them played really well. I thought they really carried this movie with like the humor and then keeping the plot rolling. And I thought there was because I feel like this is an underrated thing, that mixing up the horror and the humor was so well done. I mean, we were laughing the whole entire time because we could be ourselves and we were screaming. And every time they had an ISO shot of a beer bottle ISO shot, you were guessing pretty much everything. You're like, oh, shards of glass in the ice. Here we go. And then and then the lawnmower, obviously they cut like right to the handle, and I'm just like, oh my god, somebody's gonna die by a lawnmower. Here we go. But they kept me on my toes so much because it's about to happen. It's about to happen. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, hold on. They grabbed the rake from underneath the trampoline or something like that. So keeping me on my toes was super funny. I thought when they got to the bloodlines and explaining like how the bloodlines, how like death was attacking each person was actually really interesting to hear. And I was asking you, I was like, wait, oh, like who's next? Who's next? And it kept me intrigued on like, and it set up for one of the funniest moments of the movie, which was hilarious. But Eric, one of the characters we love the most, and by the bloodlines tree, they're explaining like who's next, and then Eric's like, okay, like I'm next. And then the mother starts crying, and then she goes, I wanted to tell you like myself, but you're adopted. And it's just the funniest thing ever.
Oh yeah, he's got one of the best lines of the movie because I don't remember what they ended up, the guy's name that's like his biological father, but he literally turns and he goes, is that why he was always trying to play catch with me? And just like storms out of the room. And it's the funniest thing.
It was one of the funniest like adoption jokes like I've seen in theater, and I was just laughing the whole entire time. But he sold it so well. And then, I mean, just having the ability to like, again, I mean, kind of, oh yeah, and the grandma, Iris, right, was her name, the person that like,
yeah,
was
Grandma Iris,
the main, yes. I thought that was such an intriguing like plot line because you start off with the gore and everything and the Skyview incident, and then having Stephanie go to her and then have her tell like the book and everything and all the details. It's what gets the story rolling. A good plot line,
right?
Yeah, it gets the story rolling, and then. Seeing is believing. One of the goriest deaths I've seen of the movie. Oh my
gosh. Well, and honestly, like just the shock of it for the character herself, because I mean, she literally can see that death is like just waiting around the corner for her, and she knows if she steps out of the house exactly how she's gonna die, and she does anyway. So she just goes out the front door and she's like, "Here, you need this. Seeing is believing," and then boom. Windmill right to the face. Like, I mean, it's insane. And not for nothing, but half of these deaths, I mean, the very opening scene was oh my gosh, death after oh my gosh. I mean, they started with the dance floor breaking, and you just watch people rain down from the sky, and you're like, all right, well, that's like super intense, and like it can't get much worse than that. But then people get crushed by pianos, there's gas leaks and explosions, there's, I mean, rings that get emulsed and like they fall off buildings and impaled, and we start the movie with like, if you haven't seen something like this before, it's an immediate welcome to the genre. Here.
That's what I loved about it the most, was they really kicked it off super fast pace. Here's the desk, here's where you're getting into, and it really just put me in a good mood for the film because I kind of like not expecting, but like I knew what I was getting into once in, because I haven't seen most of the movies before. I mean, I saw the first one, but I was absolutely scared and horrified from it. I didn't see like all the other ones. So having you there was definitely a help, like educating me on certain things, even when they were going through the book. And then I like that too, that how they had the history of like the most iconic deaths and like Final Destination history. You're like, that's the first one, that's the second one, that's in the third one. So that was really cool to see. But what was your favorite death? I mean, there was a lot of them, but the one that stuck out to my mind was, I mean, oh my God. I mean, it's probably not like, I love how I said favorite death, but it's like the piano dropping on the kid trying to run out of the sky view. Just, I go, oh, in the middle of the theater. I was like, oh my God. Because that one was just sudden. Honestly, it was just sudden. They had a moment of silence, and then it was just boom.
That's a good choice. I think I'm going to go with Mama Dearest because, like, so little context, they go running back to the house and mom and daughter are going to hide in the house. And they're like, we got this. And as they plow through the gates, death is doing its thing. And there's this huge explosion and the mom survives the explosion. And you're like, all right, cool. So like the house is gone, but like maybe they can still get out. And she, releases her son from underneath some debris that's on fire. And then all of a sudden this like giant telephone pole just comes down and smacks her. And it's the same thing. It's just so sudden. And you're just, oh my gosh, like what just happened that I was like, yeah, all right. And she was a little turned around and like out of her way anyway. Like half of her face was all like burnt up. So her chances of survival didn't look awesome anyway. But like then you do that and you're just like sitting there with your jaw open like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then a consolation prize is probably the last two because it's,
yeah.
It's perfect.
You looked at me. Yeah. You were like, you said, that is the end to a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn. I mean, when it happened, I was very satisfied with the movie too. I go, wow, that was one of the best, because I was about to say one of the best movies of 2025, to be honest. I mean, it really is. It's not like the writing, you can probably obviously be like, it's stereotypical writing, like horror movie writing.
It's
and everything.
Still horror movie tropes as you'd expect them to be. But it's good.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I liked it. All right, do we want to get into the penny?
Oh yeah, I love the penny. Okay, so here's the deal. We made so many complaints, and we'd actually argued in the car on the way over to the theater about a lack of character development in a fair amount of different things, and we won't get into it here because we already had that argument, but it was already on the mind, character development, okay? And we're storytellers at our job, and so the idea of storytelling and following that story all the way through is a big emphasis in our daily lives because that's what we do for a living. And so we hop into this theater, and in the opening scene, this guy is looking at this kid and goes, hey, don't throw that penny over the top of that rail. You could kill somebody. And the penny is what sets off every single other event that happens in that building to kill literally everybody. And so you think, okay, that's really cool. That's a Final Destination thing. Little butterfly effect kind of trickles down everywhere, knocks everything. But you think, that's probably the end of the penny. And then the penny comes back. It comes back. Oh, and it's back so many times because the penny not only sets off the events, but after the explosion, it's the thing that puts the nail in the coffin for literally everything in that opening scene. It bounces on the piano and kills the lady, smashes the window, launches everybody towards the ground. The piano smashes the kid and then bounces from the piano into the wishing well. And then you come to figure out that those nightmares are not what really happened. And what really happened is that she took the penny from the kid. And so this penny then gets reintroduced into the storyline and gets this like wild character arc as a penny and just keeps showing up. And then, like I spoiled a little bit earlier, the penny shows back up again at the end of the movie to literally be the tiny itty bitty little thing in the train track that causes the train to derail and finish off the bloodline. and it's literally a start to finish entire story. That penny is there for everything, and it goes on such a journey in between purses and all sorts of things that you're just like, all right. So for a penny, which is not a real character, the penny had such an awesome story. I love that penny. That penny rocked its performance. Of anybody else in this film, that penny should win the award. Okay, penny for the Oscar right now.
I just love how we walked out of the theater and we just go, okay, so the penny was the best character of the movie. I mean, oh my goodness. But I loved the ending sequence because I'm always like, oh my goodness, the penny is still in this movie. How is that possible? The grandma picked it up after the hospital, and and you legit go, okay, why? All right, that's gonna be something later. And then the penny slowly rolls, and you're like, the penny, and then it hits the train tracks and causes the train to go off the rails and then kill the final two characters. I mean, it was so funny. I mean, the penny's introduction was amazing. The piano sequence, how it rolled and then just right when it hits, boom, collapses the piano was awesome. But overall, I mean, that was a perfect final. Whoever came up with that creative idea in the writing room, that is a perfect final destination character arc for something.
So insignificant.
They took an object so insignificant to our daily lives now. People are trying to even get rid of the penny now in our daily lives. And to have it have such an impact in the movie was just so funny. I thought it was great.
Right, I didn't even think about that, but that's actually an awesome point. As the penny is getting discontinued from American currency, it makes its star performance in this movie. Oh, dude.
And you won't forget about it. There's no chance. There's no chance you walk out of that theater and you're like, oh yeah, I don't remember the penny. You actually remember the penny almost more than you remember Stephanie. I mean, you almost... But no, Stephanie did a great job.
Did a great job. Really, everybody in that film, aside from like the parents, did a great job. Most of the supporting family actors did a really good job in that film. Some of them weren't around enough to really flesh out how good they were really gonna do, but like most of them did a really, really good job. And as far as summer horror films go, I mean, we've had good ones before. Scream has been the most notable in the last couple years. The Conjuring is good, but both of those are a lot heavier. This is, if you're not a regular horror film going and seeing kind of a watcher, still go see it. It's still good and you'll still enjoy yourself. This is not you must be a horror film enthusiast to go see this movie kind of a deal.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not the biggest horror movie fan. Gavin knows that. He's forcing me to the theater to go watch every single horror film this year. Oh my goodness. But at the end of the day, it was a super fun watch. It felt like it flew by. I mean, Gavin thought we were going to miss the next movie we were going to watch, but I was like, relax, man. It's just a good movie. It's just flying by. I mean, you need to calm down, Gavin. You need to calm down.
I mean, I really thought that we were still in the early part of the movie because, like, the story
it was
moving that quick. It was, I mean, and that's something to be said for some of the other films that we've seen this year, in the sense of some of the other films that we've seen this year have not moved at the pace that they should move. And this one really did move at such a great pace that even though the movie is basically 2 hours, I mean, it's 10 minutes short of 2 hours, it really moved. Like, it didn't feel like a 2-hour movie at all. If you'd come back and told me the movie was an hour and 22 minutes, I would have believed you. I mean, I wouldn't argue you on it at all. I would take you at your word.
This is a perfect movie if you have your friends and you're looking to just drink and have a good time and watch a movie. Perfect movie for this, like when it comes out on streaming.
Oh,
100%.
Oh, 100%.
Watch with your friends. What should we watch next? Final Destination Bloodlines. It is a stellar movie.
Well, and for all the really intense Final Destination fans, this is a great movie because, and I know that you don't understand this because you haven't seen them all, but so many of the characters that were in that are returning characters from other films. And so they do a really good job of bringing back cast members that were in other movies and finishing off their storylines completely. So it really does feel like a really great wrap up to the series. Unlike some other wrap ups we've talked about. And so it's one of those where, like, if you just want a fun movie to watch, yeah, it's great. But also, if you love Final Destination, this is a great wrap-up movie to the franchise. This is the one to go see, to be like, oh yeah, story's wrapped up, it's good, it's done, we're set to go. Like, yeah, go see it. Well worth it. Well worth it, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think this was the biggest surprise movie of 2025, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure everyone thought, because it was a Final Destination franchise, that, oh, it was just going to be another mediocre, not mediocre, but it's just going to be a stereotypical Final Destination. We're just there for the deaths. But it turned out to be just a really fun movie. It was simple, and it executed it very well, which is what I really appreciated the most. It was really fun to watch. What was your rating of this? I'm really intrigued. I already have my rating in my head, but what's your rating?
Honestly, this is going to get one of my higher ratings of the year. So far, I'm giving it an 8.5. The story, as with most horror films, could be better. Could elevate the story a bit more, but the acting performances were great. The deaths were fantastic. It kept you on your toes and literally, in Brett's case, on the edge of his seat 90% of the movie. It wrapped things up really well. The comedic relief was fantastic. The flow of the movie was quick-paced and entertaining. It was all really, really well done. And it was one of those movies where, I mean, we saw it in the theater where we were super close to the screen, and one of your first comments was like, why are we so close? And I remember thinking, like, yeah, but this is the perfect way to see this, and it truly was, because it just made it that much better. So 8.5 is where I sit. I thought it was great. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with it. I mean, I'm going to say 8.7. I really enjoyed watching this film. I thought the characters were awesome. I thought it kept me on the edge of the seat, like you said. The storyline was good and intriguing, and I actually was paying attention, and I wasn't there. It felt like I wasn't there. Oh, I can't wait to see this guy die. Oh, wait, can't wait to see this person die. It was really good. I thought, when it comes on streaming, you want to go see a movie with your friends, like I said before, this is the perfect movie to watch with your friends, chilling, drinking, whatever you want to do. I mean, it was a super fun watch, and I really enjoyed it. So I give it an 8.7. That surprise movie of the summer. I mean, to be honest, because when I first saw this trailer, I was like, oh, here we go. This is going to be a bomb, and it's not going to make any money. But people loved it, and I loved it too. I thought it was really good.
Fantastic. Well, we've officially now introduced you into the horror franchise, and so 2 weeks from now, we
Sinners,
are prepping.
Final Destination. We're doing it all.
Oh yeah, we're doing it all. I mean, we got 28 years later coming up, so don't worry. We're going to be doing a 28 marathon before we go to see 28 years later. We'll be doing a retro review on those two movies, and then we're going to be doing the 28 years later, which I've told Brett I think we need to go to the Prime AMC theater for, because oh man, the speakers, the everything in that theater, it's going to be fantastic. But we'll get to that eventually. Brett, welcome to the horror film industry and franchises. I'm glad that your first one was such a success, and we'll can only go up from here. Well, that's not true. It could go way down from here, but we'll hope that it only goes up from here.
Final Destination gave you too much hope. Gave you too much hope into the horror franchise.
Hey, I needed a win. Okay, this was a great win. All right, this has me back at 500 on the year now.
This
all right,
is the start. It's like MCU. It's like the MCU. It's like, this is the start.
That's right.
Thunderbolts is the start. No,
Thunderbolts brought us back. Mission Impossible brought us down. Bloodlines brings us back up again. Here we go.
Oh my goodness. All right. Tune in for the next review. Are you done? Sweet. Oh my God, that was actually so funny.